me here at t- tw-
Twi-
twi-
Twilight.
twilight.
The date was May 7th, 2022. It was a Saturday afternoon when Click was about to make its first public performance. Lily and I had put together a staged reading, a standard for young musicals apparently. The actors would stand in a line with the script in their hands and perform the show. We did this so we could see what the majority of audience would think of our show. We also did this because we didn't know what more to write. We needed feedback. And as the light slowly dimmed, I approached Lily with a question. Now, I should have remembered that the two of us were very stressed, and I should have kept that in mind before asking, hey, can you write an overture?
What?
You know, an overture. It's like what starts at the beginning of the show, a bunch of instrumental tracks.
I know what an overture is, Ellis.
Can you, whip one up real quick? I was quickly shown away at that remark and told to give my director's speech. Welcome. Hi. My name is Al Stevens. I'm the writer of this musical that you're about to watch. Me and Lily have been working on this show for quite a while now. We started this summer. I came to her. I asked her, hey, I'm kind of bored and I want to make something. Could you give me any inspiration? She was like, well, I can write music. And I was like, I've been writing a play. Maybe it could be a musical. Here we are. First thing that I want to say is that I am very proud of all the actors. Their schedules were very chaotic. Rehearsal times had to change from time to time just to get through this show and stuff. Special thanks to Miss Sane, the DJHS drama director. She put this together. I came to her, I was like, hey, what about the first week of May? And she was like, yeah, sure, we can do it. And I was like, yay. It literally did. FLT, just, yeah. Anyway, then also special thanks to Lily's family for feeding me and keeping me at their house when we had to work late nights. In your programs, I'm sure you noticed that there are one sheet that says music notes and book notes. The book notes go to me, and the music notes go to Lily Sharp. We really just want to know your feedback. This is a workshop performance, so actors will have their scripts in their hands. The music's not perfect with the knowing and stuff. Lily will chime in at different times to help them out if needed. We really just hope you enjoy the show. We want the good, bad, the ugly, just to make it better. That includes you, Mr. Finney. We hope you enjoy the show, the very first performance of Click, a one-act musical. And as soon as I walked to sit down in my chair, the show started. There was no more talking between Lily and I for the next 1.5 hours. Our only way of communicating things to one another was by giving looks of fear, surprise, and more fear. Once finished with the staged reading, there was for sure one thing that me and Lily could agree on.
There needs to be an overture.
Ha! And by the time we were able to open the show back up to the public in 2024 at the Dalton Little Theater, Lily had written this. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We want to thank you all for joining us tonight. On January 12th, 2024, Lily and I's blood, sweat, and definitely tears were about to be thrown in front of the community. And there was no way to hide from it. Click was a 2-night only show, and about a week before opening, we sold out. Yay! But also, no turning back now. Luckily, I think me and Lily can be fairly confident in saying that the show was a success. And when January came around this year, there was definitely a feeling of missing it. So I came up with this, a night where me and Lily tell a few stories of how we wrote our little show. So please enjoy this night of celebration and a lot of corny dialogue. To go back to the overture story, Lily and I were actually having a lot of issues on how to open the show. At first, it was this super cheesy dialogue portion, but after blunt suggestions, that was soon converted into a monologue spoken by one of the teachers. No matter what, though, the first song of the show was IEP, which stands for Individualized Education Plan. If you have no idea what that is, don't worry, you'll become well accustomed to it by the end of the night.
IEP went through a couple of revisions, and by a couple, we mean 8. It was at first just the 3 leads singing about their hatred towards having a dreaded learning disability, and their disdain towards dealing with it through an IEP. Now, the working draft of IEP just wasn't hitting as a good opening. It was a week before the workshop when Ellis and I were seated on the floor of my childhood playroom, which was our makeshift studio for the remainder of the writing process. Defeated on the floor without an opening number, I began to play random notes on my guitar. IEP, the tragedy.
Hey! And that's how we got our workshop draft. But it still wasn't doing its job even after the workshop.
The 6-note melody we came to love from the workshop draft became the signature leitmotif of the show. But the show eventually outgrew this draft of IEP. It was the summer after the workshop when I abruptly got a text from Ellis.
Weirdly, during an acting workshop, inspiration for maybe how the show could open and our general message was just told to me. The teacher of the workshop asked if I was an introvert or an extrovert, to which I responded, I'm both. To which he responded,
Labels are just limiting, you know.
I need to write that down.
Labels are limiting, binding constantly, never ending, always changing, and for what? No badge of representation, just a life of memorization of the problems you bear and all the weaknesses you wear, with no wind inside because no one was constructed who would scream and yell and no one would help. What were you to do? What were you to do?
And with that, we realized there was no need for dialogue to open the show.
A lot of this show was not written in order. In fact, the very first song of the show to ever be touched was Backwards, being as it was the only female solo number of the show. Backwards was Jane's song, and Jane was one of the 3 leads. The character of Jane is actually a complex one. The core of this show is discussing what it is like to have a learning disability in the 8th grade. We followed Jane with dyscalculia, Jonathan with dyslexia, and Scott with dysgraphia. Now, Ellis has dyslexia and dysgraphia, so doing extensive research on those 2 was not difficult. But when it came to dyscalculia, we knew no one. So there was always this fear and dread that we might be doing something wrong with this learning disability. Even so, we pushed forward, and at the workshop stage reading, Jane had dyscalculia.
Now playing is Backwards, the original Jane solo for the workshop production.
I can read, but when it comes to numbers, I can barely breathe. I can write, but when it comes to math, my God, it's such a fight. I idea of coming up with an overture. Another idea from the workshop that sprung into our heads was cutting the saying of 3 friends with 3 different learning disabilities and instead giving Jane ADHD. It was a hard decision, but another text from Ellis later, and our research of ADHD started, this time not just with the internet, but also with our friends. By the time we got to the Dalton Little Theater production, Backwards had become stuck. If I could end it all with a stroke of my pen, I would let those problems fly away like pollen in the wind. Get the answer, move on, telling me to stay strong. I've been stuck for so long by something bigger than me. I have to work 10 times harder than everyone else. I'm so done with being shamed for getting help. They say that I'm forgetful, and well, it's not my fault. They say that I'm lazy, and well, it's not that at all. If I could end it all with a stroke of my pen, I would let those problems fly away like pollen in the wind. Get the answer, move on, telling me to stay strong. I've been stuck for so long by something bigger than me. I don't want to hear that I don't need help. I don't want to hear you felt the way I felt. I don't have to fear, 'cause I've got help.
Now, it wasn't just me who was asking for changes to the story. In fact, one of the first biggest changes to the script was the addition of a song, a love song. You see, in the original one-act script, Jane and Jonathan were a little bit of a flirt, but me being the boy writer that I am, I didn't want anything to do with that. And instead, get the audience to come up with their own conclusion. But one writing session that me and Lily would have would change that. When Lily asked me if she could write a love song, I was very against it at first. But Lily and I always had a thing where if we didn't like the rewrite, we could always go back. The thing was, I liked the rewrite. Introducing Hayden Poe to sing along with Lily for Here You Are.
Wait, stay with me, can't you see my eyes?
We've known each other a while now, but I see the look in your eyes. We've known each other a while now, but I see the look in your eyes. We've been so far, but together. For so long we've been so close, yet scattered. I was lost,
Here you are,
together yet so far. Here you are.
wait, patiently, stay with me, together.
I've known our friendship a while now, far but together. For so long we've been so close, yet scattered. I was lost. Here you are. Together yet so far. Here you are.
I've been waiting for so long for you to catch my eye. You take my breath away.
I've been waiting for so long for you to come to me, for me to let you in. We've been so far but together. For so long we've been so close, yet scattered. I was lost.
Here you are.
Together yet so far, here you are. Here you are.
Special thank you to Hayden Poe.
Now that we've given attention to two of the leads, it's finally time to give the spotlight to probably mine and Ellis's favorite character, Scott.
Right. Jane's solo song was not only an explanation of her character, but was also somewhat of an attack to Scott. The troubled 8th grader takes great offense to this song and decides to temporarily leave the friend group.
The drama.
Well, at first we weren't going to let Scott come back until close to the end of the show to really sell that dramatic plot element. But after seeing the attention that Jane and Jonathan were getting, that's when I began construction on scene 4. In my mind, I've always gone back and forth on whether or not I want to make this story a one-for-one of me, or to maybe let it stay more generic so many others could relate. Both paths have their strengths and weaknesses, but when it came to scene 4, I said it all out loud. Everything. To an almost comical extent. Once I gave this 15-page scene to Lily, her mind went to the fact that I should add a character that represents all the teachers who truly helped me. That is where the formation of Miss William comes in.
Miss William or Miss Williams?
Yeah, I never really decided. Anyway, Miss Williams acted as an unseen narrator for the original workshop draft, and truly a mentor to the 3 kids. Her addition to the show felt perfect, but at the same time, random. It felt like there was something missing. And then one writing session later, me and Lily both remembered a very important detail about our show. We're trying to write a musical.
You've let something take control of you that was not meant to be.
I know, but why did it have to be with me?
That's not what matters. You are capable of more things.
Less and less each day. Do you remember 6th grade?
Less and less each day. Told you you gotta learn.
Gotta learn.
Learn how to learn.
Even when the words are failing.
You're not failing. You would ask me question after question.
I want to know the answer, but what do I do when the words are failing? The system's turned against me.
You've turned against the system.
Getting help feels like failing.
But it's not failing as long as you do it right.
Am I failing?
Find the strength to ask.
I've let something take control of me that was not meant to be. A shadow of you in my past, not light enough to see. The label can make or break, the choice is up to me. I've let something take control of me that was not meant to be. But I will break free from these bonds. That word does not define what I'm capable of. And I will break free from these bonds. Dysgraphia is not what I'm made of. Some rewrites are simple little additions to the stories. Others, not so much. It was April 13th, 2022, when an idea just popped in my head, By God, it could not leave me alone. You see, the way the three kids would talk about their learning disabilities would be by just breaking the fourth wall and talking to the audience. Not very clever. And, for example of that, reintroducing Hayden to read for Jonathan. This would be how the original script would sound.
Hi, my name is Jonathan. I have dyslexia. I don't really know how I feel about it. Do I hate it? Do I love it? Well, we know I don't love it, that's for sure. As you can probably tell, I don't like talking about my LD, learning disability. I have two friends. Their names are Jane and Scott. I think we've known each other since 6th grade. Was it? Wow, how time flies. Anyways, I should really get back to work, sorry.
Really interesting stuff, I know. But the idea I had that would maybe rectify this was, what if, and please hear me out, what if these concepts that the kids were over-defining themselves with were characters? So, instead of boring monologues, we would have something like this. On Jonathan's desk, he holds a copy of Fahrenheit 451. He reads from it.
Montag gasped far down the boulevard, floor blocks away. The beetle had slowed, spun about on two wheels, and was now racing back, slanting over the wrong side of the street. All right! Fahrenheit is hard enough to read without you being you.
And that's why it's so fun.
Picking up speed. Oh my God!
You know, you didn't say I look nice today. I think someone has a crush.
Shut up.
Well, at least you're finally doing something about it. I mean, when was it that you first started getting feelings for Jane?
6th grade.
Wow. 6th, 7th, 8th. That's a long... It's 8th grade now. It's been that long.
I'm doing better, I know it. If I were you, I'd be really scared right now.
Oh, I'm very scared, Jonathan.
When I told Lily about this change, I presented it to her with the idea that we would only do this after the workshop. But Lily, of course, had to say...
I really like the idea, but I don't see the point of doing a workshop if we already know what we're going to change.
And this is why I hated when my co-writer was right. In less than a month, I added 3 very impactful characters to the show. Jane, Jonathan, and Scott's cliques. These characters are so important to the final show that they influence the name of the show. Instead of My Learning Disability as the title, now the show was named Click, with a comma.
Sophia was not really a character the first time the show was performed. It wasn't until the big decision to write a second act for Click that I think we really saw a use for Sophia. In the workshop draft, Jane, Jonathan, and Scott looked up to the ensemble students, who were not good role models. We decided that they needed someone to look up to. Enter Sophia. As Scott was the closest reflection of Ellis, it soon became clear that Sophia was the closest representation of myself. We added another side of the coin to show what school was like for an advanced student. Not everyone has a learning disability, but everyone has something that makes them different, for better or worse.
It was about year 2 or 3 when I think the message of the show was changed from "don't let it define you" to "labels are limiting." We wanted to go into how Sophia is obsessed with her grades, and when she is seen slipping just a little bit, she thinks of herself as failing. And for Scott, he is constantly worried about how others perceive him with his LD. These themes that were slowly boiling were put on full blast in the Dalton Little Theater production, aka the first full world premiere of Click, directed by the amazing Elena Sang.
It was Sane's directing that truly brought out these characters' struggles, more than the simple dialogue and lines that we gave her. Out of all these characters, it was clear that Sophia improved the most from the directions given.
Sophia started out as the supposed role model of the 3 friends, and became a leading protagonist in herself, opening the show.
There she goes, that perfect child. For her the answers seem to flow. Where are you going, you perfect child? I've always known, but now I don't. I grew up before my growth spurt. I was tough before the rest were, and the time I felt like I was not enough. So I pushed and gained some knowledge. My whole life was spent on college, but I failed because the pressure was too much. Scored my life on grades and check marks. Thought that I could only be smart if my transcript only had A++++. Where did she go, that perfect child? She worked, but no one seemed to know. How do I find her, that perfect child? She's run away, I'm all alone. That's not a healthy way of thinking. Life went by and I'm still blinking. All the future I had planned just went away. I thought that I was only grades, and I guess that set the stage because the curtain opens. I don't know my lines. Where do I go now? The perfect's gone. The perfect isn't quite enough. You have to work, you have to try, and still you might not make the cut. All the hours of work put in to grow a fruitless tree are all the ways I've come to hate my name beside a B. Is my worth no more than what is written in the file? That grade will be the final chapter on this perfect child. Oh.
Wait, play that again. Now, like, one more time. Okay, now, like, loop it. Do your thing. On average, the standardized tests will run for around 3 hours. However, if you have an IEP and that IEP gives you extended time, you are granted time and a half, meaning that for these kids, they will be testing for 4 hours and 30 minutes for multiple days. There's roughly 20 to 30 questions for each part. Hour 1, you're still awake and you're doing all right, but once they get to hour 2, things start to take a turn for the worse. Half of your brain is telling you to keep working, and the other half is telling you to put your head down and take a nap. But you keep going, because you have to keep going. Once you pass hour 3 and 4, you're finally done with all the questions. Now, they always recommend that you look back on your answers, but by now all of your brain is telling you to go to sleep. The kids will raise their hands to call over the teacher to watch them press submit. You think it would be over, but now they have to wait. These were lines by the last character written, the writer, the only character not to get a song. This was due to his very late addition to the script. If you have noticed, there is a pattern of late additions to our script right when a production is about to happen. In this case, he was added right before the DLT production.
I remember reading the draft that Ellis sent me with the writer and not really liking it. He felt like an unneeded narrator. But at the end of Act 1, it is revealed that the writer is actually an older version of Scott retelling his past as a story.
It was very meta to write the character of the writer into the story, and sometimes I do regret it. But other times, I am glad I did. Having this character made the story a lot more interesting. We had the writer journey around Act 2 as if it was a memory that you want to avoid in fear of that feeling, that gut feeling.
We never imagined our show ending on a sad note. But with how the characters were going, it almost had to. We had the three friends break up, that being the memory that the writer wanted to avoid at the end of the act.
It was always fun to see how our storytelling would evolve over the years. We would build courage to ask more complex questions in the narrative, and it was like the writer was able to comment on that. If something was very dramatic, we would have the writer poke fun at that. He was a nice reminder of how far we've come. Click has been with us for almost 4 years. It followed us all the way through high school. We actually celebrate the anniversary on August 3rd due to that being when I sent the original email asking if Lily would be interested in writing a few songs for a one-act that I was working on called My Learning Disability. I say all of this to tell you that just because I say it's been with us for almost 4 years doesn't mean there weren't moments where I would have rather quit. In fact, on the day of the 2023 drama banquet, I literally had the text ready to send, saying, Lily, I appreciate everything, but I think it's time to give it up. But right as I was about to press send, Lily sent me a song, the Scott solo for Act 2. Scott was always the main character in my mind, which is funny because for Act 1, he really is a side character. But Lily and I always knew that he was the most like me, to quote.
The robotic, short-tempered, dramatic, non-reliant.
Okay, that's the wrong quote. Writing Click became less of telling a story and more of therapy when I was having a bad day. I think it was for the both of us. And that's how we kept going. The biggest achievement for Click is having a full production put on at the local Dalton Little Theater. We are so thankful to Elena Sane and the Play Selection Committee for giving our little show a stage. We also thank all of those who came to the show to make it a sold-out run. Click getting to have a theater to call home for 2 months is probably one of my proudest achievements to date. Soon after the production, we were greatly encouraged to take the next step and officially get Click copywritten, which is this certificate issued under the seal of the Copyright Office and a blah, 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 blah. Basically, this letter tells us, hey, it's yours, you did the work, and no one can take it from you. I had to look for it. But as said, these achievements almost never happened. I remember sitting in my living room, no one else was home, I was just a moment away from pressing send. And then, just then, Lily says,
Okay, I did a thing. I wrote this song for Scott that isn't technically an Act 2 yet, but I wrote it anyway. Would you give this a listen when you get a chance? No rush. I just thought it might be a nice addition. It's about writing.
I opened the MP3 to listen to what would become our ending to the musical. Yellow pages tell the most important stories. What I say may not lead me to glory. What if words only had what we gave them? All I know is when I'm an artist, it's not so much of a burden. So read it if you will. Listen, I'm another face, but I'm putting into words what others rarely seem to say. Once it's got control of you, well, there's nothing else to be. But once you say you're a part of me, that's when you're free. So be inside my head, welcome yesterday, today. I won't say that I like you, but the fight keeps me awake. If I said it out loud, you'd all say I was crazy. So I write it all down. Let's leave that at a maybe in these words. Another line, another who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Stop the theme in my head, embracing and changing the hurts that I bled. Stop fighting the battles inside. Acceptance and reverence, they come with a price. And it's day by day, and it's hour after hour. It's years and years, and it's barely gotten better. It's right and wrong, and it's been that way for far too long. And I'm done fighting, so I guess I'll play along, 'cause it's me. If I said it out loud, you'd all say I was crazy. So I write it all down. Let's leave that at a maybe in these words. Another line, another who am I? These words. for who I am. And so I'm fine because I know it's who I am. But it's not fine because every day I start over again. But every day there is a choice to go on. And in that choice are these words: I am strong.
No problem, said Annie. The young man smiled. Thank you, he said. Then he started to leave.